Find somewhere comfortable. You don't have to hold any of this carefully. You don't need to take notes or remember anything or arrive at any particular understanding by the end. Just let the words come to you the way warmth comes through a window, quietly, without asking anything of you. We're in no hurry tonight. If you're lying down right now, that's exactly where you should be. If today was heavy, and something tells me it might have been, then just the fact that you're here, that you've stopped, that you've allowed yourself to be still for a moment, that already matters. You don't have to earn rest. You don't have to explain it to anyone. The world outside this room can wait. Tonight we're going to talk about something that a lot of people carry without quite having a name for it. Something that can settle into a person so gradually, so quietly, that by the time they notice it, it already feels like it's been there forever. We're going to talk about burnout. What it actually is, what it does inside a body and a mind, and why, if you're feeling hollowed out and distant from yourself, that is not weakness. It is not failure. It is something that has a shape and a history and a reason. And understanding that, even a little, can be its own kind of relief. So rest if you want to. Let the words arrive and move through you. We'll take this gently. There is a particular kind of tired that sleep doesn't seem to fix. You've probably felt it. You go to bed exhausted. You wake up still exhausted. Not the pleasant heaviness of a long day well spent, but something deeper, a flatness, a sense that something that used to be there has gone quiet, and you're not quite sure when it left or where it went. Maybe you've noticed it in other ways too. Tasks that once felt meaningful now feel strangely hollow. People you care about, you can feel yourself watching them from a distance, as though through glass, even when they're right beside you. Enthusiasm, that lightness that used to come when you looked ahead, it's been replaced by something more like going through the motions. One foot in front of the other. Get through today, then tomorrow, then the next one. If any of that feels familiar, you are not alone. And you are not broken. There is a name for what you're describing, and that name has a history and a science and a growing body of understanding behind it. The name, of course, is burnout. And while it has become a word that gets used casually, tossed around in offices, mentioned lightly in conversation, the thing it actually describes is anything but light. It is a real, measurable, deeply human experience, and it deserves to be taken seriously. The person who first gave it a name was a psychoanalyst working in New York in the early 1970s. His name was Herbert Freudenberger, and what makes his story particularly tender is this. He discovered burnout by living it himself. He was working long hours, often unpaid, at a free clinic in the East Village, a place that offered care to people who had nowhere else to go. He and his colleagues were deeply committed. They were idealistic. They believed in what they were doing. And then, over time, something shifted. The energy that had once felt bottomless began to run dry. The passion curdled into irritability. The sense of purpose faded into a kind of emotional numbness. He looked around at himself and the people he worked alongside, and he saw something he didn't yet have a word for. So he borrowed one. The word burnout was already in use at the time. In informal language, it described what happened to someone who had been destroyed by chronic drug use, that complete depletion, that hollowing out. Freudenberger felt it captured something true about what he was witnessing in himself and his colleagues. People who had started with so much fire, slowly extinguished from the inside. He used the image of a building that had burned. The outer walls might still be standing. From the street, it might even look intact, but step inside and there is nothing left. That image has stayed in the research ever since, because it describes something that many people quietly recognize, that you can appear functional, capable, even fine, while inside there is an emptiness where the warmth used to be. After Freudenberger named it, a researcher named Christina Maslach spent years at the University of California studying it with great care. She wanted to understand not just what burnout felt like, but what it was made of, its structure, its components, the shape of it. And what she found, through years of research and conversations with people in all kinds of demanding roles, was that burnout tends to move through three distinct experiences, almost like three rooms in the same dark house. The first is exhaustion, not ordinary tiredness, but a deep and persistent depletion that doesn't lift, the kind where even the thought of doing the things you used to love feels like too much, where your reserves, emotional and physical both, have been drawn down so far that there is simply nothing left to give, not to your work, not to the people around you, and often not to yourself. The second is something researchers call detachment or cynicism, a growing distance between you and the things that once mattered. Maybe it started as a small, protective numbness, a way of not feeling quite so much because feeling so much had become exhausting. But over time, it can harden into something that feels more like indifference or even bitterness. You find yourself going through motions. You find yourself caring less and then feeling guilty for caring less, which is its own kind of weight. The third is a quiet collapse of confidence, a sense that you are no longer effective, that whatever you're doing, it isn't enough, isn't good enough, isn't making a difference. This can be particularly painful for people who once felt capable and purposeful, because the gap between who you were and who you feel yourself to be now can seem vast and unbridgeable. These three things together, the exhaustion, the detachment, the diminished sense of your own worth, that is what Maslach described as burnout. And in 2022, the World Health Organization formally recognized it as a syndrome arising from chronic stress that hasn't been resolved, particularly in the context of work or sustained caregiving, which is simply to say, the world now officially acknowledges that this is real, that it has causes, and that it deserves care. It is worth pausing on that for a moment, because if you have spent any time telling yourself that you should just be stronger or more resilient or less sensitive, the science gently disagrees with you. Burnout is not a character flaw. It is what happens when the demands placed on a human being over a long enough period outpace what that human being has been given to meet them with. It is a response, a signal, a body and a mind saying something here needs to change. One thing that the research finds, again and again, is that the people most likely to burn out are often the ones who cared the most to begin with, the idealistic ones, the ones who entered their work, or their relationships, or their caregiving with genuine passion and high hopes. The very fuel that drives people forward can, under the wrong conditions, be the thing that burns them hollow. And it isn't only about doing too much. Some research suggests that people can burn out from feeling too little, from work that offers no meaning, no autonomy, no sense of genuine contribution. Burnout can come from being overwhelmed, yes, but it can also come from being invisible or stuck or chronically undervalued. The common thread is not volume of effort. It is a mismatch, sustained over time, between what a person gives and what they receive in return, in recognition, in rest, in a sense that any of it matters. Whatever your particular version of this looks like, it is valid. It doesn't have to look a certain way to count. Here is something worth knowing, because it might make the exhaustion feel a little less mysterious. Burnout is not only a state of mind, it changes the body. It changes it in ways that are measurable, visible, real. When we encounter stress, any kind of stress, the body responds the way it has for tens of thousands of years. A cascade of signals moves through the nervous system. The heart rate rises. The muscles tense slightly. A hormone called cortisol is released into the bloodstream. Cortisol is not a villain. In the right amounts, at the right moments, it is genuinely useful. It sharpens attention, mobilizes energy, helps you meet a challenge. The problem is, what happens when that system never gets to switch off? In burnout, The stress response, the one that is supposed to be temporary, supposed to subside once the danger passes, stays activated. Day after day, week after week, sometimes month after month. And that costs something. It costs a great deal. Cortisol, which was helpful in short bursts, becomes a kind of slow corrosion when it floods the system continuously. It promotes inflammation throughout the body, a low-level chronic kind that is linked to all sorts of physical difficulties over time, from cardiovascular strain to a weakened immune system. It disrupts the gut. It creates tension in the muscles that never quite releases. It is why people in the depths of burnout often find themselves getting ill more frequently or carrying a physical heaviness that no amount of rest seems to fully address. And then there is what happens in the brain itself. There is a region behind your forehead, the part of the brain responsible for making decisions, regulating emotions, holding complex thoughts together, and generally being the calm, considered part of you. Under chronic stress, this region becomes impaired. Not permanently, not irreversibly, but noticeably. Its ability to keep everything organized and measured gets gradually worn down, which is why, in burnout, even simple decisions can feel overwhelming. Why concentration phrase? Why the careful, steady version of yourself that you know is in there, somewhere, seems to have gone very quiet. At the same time, another part of the brain, the part that acts as an alarm, that scans constantly for threat, can become hypersensitive. It starts reading ordinary things as dangerous. A mildly difficult email, a slightly critical comment, a moment of silence in a conversation. The alarm is always faintly ringing, even when nothing is wrong. This is why burnout so often comes with a kind of low-grade anxiety that doesn't seem to have a clear cause, a background hum of unease that follows you into rooms and sits with you in the quiet. There are also the brain's chemical messengers to consider, the ones that carry feelings of motivation and pleasure and connection. Dopamine, serotonin, others, these can become depleted under prolonged stress. Which explains, in a very literal biological way, why things that once brought you joy now feel flat. Why the hobbies you loved feel distant. Why even good things, things you know you should be grateful for, struggle to fully land. It isn't ingratitude. It is chemistry. Your brain's capacity for pleasure has been running on empty, and it needs time and gentleness and rest to refill. None of this is abstract. It is happening in a real body, possibly your body. Right now, as you lie here, and knowing that it is a physiological process, not a personal failing, is worth sitting with for a moment. The body is not betraying you. It is telling you something important. It is saying, in the only language it has, that it has been carrying too much for too long, and that it needs something different now. Of all the ways burnout makes itself felt, perhaps none is more quietly devastating than what it does to sleep. Sleep is not passive. It is not simply the absence of waking. It is one of the most active and essential things a human body does, a nightly process of repair, restoration, and renewal that touches almost every system in the body and every function of the mind. And burnout, with its elevated cortisol and its nervous system that won't stand down, reaches directly into that process and disturbs it. The most obvious way is the difficulty of falling asleep at all. You are exhausted, genuinely, deeply exhausted, and yet you lie here, and the mind keeps moving. It replays conversations, it rehearses tomorrow. It circles back to things left undone, things said badly, things that might go wrong. The body is desperate for rest, and the mind refuses to release it. This particular cruelty, being tired beyond words and yet unable to sleep, is one of the most common experiences in burnout, and it is not a sign of weakness or a failure of will. It is the direct result of a nervous system that has been kept on alert for so long that it has forgotten, at least temporarily, how to let go. And then there is the quality of sleep when it does come. Sleep moves through different depths over the course of a night. The lighter stages are important, but the deeper ones, the slow, quiet stages where the body does its most profound repair work, are where much of the real restoration happens. In deep sleep, tissues are rebuilt, and the brain does something remarkable. It essentially cleanses itself, flushing out the waste products that accumulate during waking hours. This process is unhurried, gentle, ancient. It requires the body to be truly at rest. Burnout disrupts access to those deeper stages. The nervous system, still humming with low-level activation, keeps pulling sleep upward toward the shallower end. You might sleep for 7 or 8 hours and wake feeling as though you barely slept at all, because in a meaningful sense, you didn't reach the depths where sleep becomes truly restorative. The body went through the motions of sleep without fully arriving there. Then there is the stage of sleep associated with dreaming, the stage where the brain processes the emotional texture of the day, where experiences are sorted and integrated, where difficult feelings are gently metabolized into something more manageable. Burnout tends to disturb this stage too, either reducing it or fragmenting it. And when the brain can't complete its nightly emotional processing, the feelings that weren't metabolized carry forward into the next day, adding to the weight already being carried. Over time, this creates a kind of emotional backlog, a build-up of unprocessed experience that contributes to the flatness, the irritability, the sense of being somehow behind in your own life. It is a cycle that feeds itself. Burnout disrupts sleep. Disrupted sleep deepens burnout, and so the exhaustion compounds night after night in a way that can make recovery feel impossibly distant. But here is what the research also holds, and it is worth holding alongside everything else. The brain is patient. It is more patient with us than we often are with ourselves. Given the right conditions, rest, safety, the gradual easing of pressure, it begins, slowly and without fanfare, to find its way back. The deeper stages of sleep, the emotional processing, the chemical balance, these are not permanently lost. They are waiting. They want to return. And sometimes, the first step toward that return is simply this: stopping, lying still, letting the words of a quiet voice wash over you without demanding anything of you in return, not fixing anything, not solving anything, just being here in the dark and allowing rest to approach you at its own pace. Before we move into the next part of tonight, the part where we begin to actually help your body and your mind find their way toward rest, there is one more thing worth saying, and it is this: you are not unusual for feeling this way. In a survey conducted a few years ago, researchers asked thousands of workers across different industries how often they experienced burnout. Nearly a quarter said very often or always. Almost half said sometimes. That means when you add those numbers together, 2 in every 3 people surveyed were experiencing burnout to some degree. That is not a personal failing distributed across a population. That is something systemic, something about the way modern life is structured that is asking more of people than people were built to sustain. And it extends well beyond the workplace. Early researchers found that the same pattern, the exhaustion, the detachment, the quiet collapse of feeling, could develop in long-term caregiving relationships, in marriages, in any situation where a person gives and gives without adequate replenishment. Burnout does not care about the category of your life in which it takes hold. It goes where the conditions are right for it. There is also something worth knowing about who tends to be most vulnerable. It is not, as one might assume, the people who care the least. It is, over and over again, the people who care the most. The ones who entered their roles, their jobs, their relationships, their responsibilities, with the most genuine investment. Who held the highest hopes? Who believed in the beginning that what they were doing truly mattered? When reality fails to meet those hopes, when the work turns out to be thankless, or the system unsupportive, or the demands endless, the fall is longer for the ones who started higher. The disillusionment cuts deeper. And the instinct for people who care deeply is often to try harder rather than to step back, to give more rather than to acknowledge that they are running low, which only accelerates the depletion. If that describes you, if you are someone who has always cared very much and who has perhaps been caring for a long time without enough care coming back, then what you are feeling tonight is not a mystery. It is the predictable result of being a deeply human person in circumstances that have not been kind to you. There was even, back in the 1980s, a recognition that this could happen in the intimacy of a marriage or a long partnership, that the same slow extinguishing of warmth could occur between two people who had once chosen each other with great hope. It was called, simply, marriage burnout. And the fact that researchers felt the need to name it separately tells you something important. That burnout is not about the domain of life in which it occurs. It is about the relationship between what we give and what we receive, between what is asked of us and what we are given to meet it with. Whatever domain of your life burnout has settled into, it belongs to you and to your particular story. There is no right or wrong version of it. There is only the truth of how you are feeling, and the fact that that truth deserves to be acknowledged. One more thing, and then we will move on. Long before Freudenberger named burnout in the 1970s, there was a Victorian-era physician who described something remarkably similar. In 1869, he wrote about a condition he was seeing in patients, a profound exhaustion tied to the pace and pressure of modern life. He called it by a different name, a more clinical-sounding one that has since faded from use. But the description was hauntingly familiar. Deep fatigue, irritability, a loss of the capacity for pleasure, a sense of being wrung out by the demands of living. He believed it was a disorder of the modern world. He believed the speed and pressure of contemporary life was asking something of the human nervous system that the human nervous system was not designed to give. That was more than 150 years ago, and in some ways the world has only asked more of us since. Which is to say, this is not new. You are not the first person to feel this way. You are part of a long, quiet lineage of human beings who have found themselves depleted by the weight of their own lives, who have lain awake in the dark, wondering if they will ever feel like themselves again. And the answer, gentle, unhurried, patient, is yes. With rest and time and care, something does return. Not all at once, not on any particular schedule, but it returns. Tonight, we begin that return, softly. What follows now is a guided meditation, a slow, careful journey designed specifically to help a body and mind carrying the particular weight of burnout, to ease the nervous system that has been on guard for too long, to invite the deeper rest that burnout has been keeping just out of reach. You don't need to do anything to prepare. You are already in exactly the right place. Just let yourself be here, in the quiet and the dark, and allow what comes next to find you. Welcome back. You made it here again. And that matters more than you know. Wherever you are right now, however the day went, however the week went, however long it has been since you truly felt like yourself, you are allowed to be here now. You are allowed to rest. This moment belongs to you, not to your work, not to the list of things undone, not to the voice that keeps tallying what you gave and what you still owe. None of that is invited in here. Just you. Just this. If you are lying down, let your body settle a little deeper into whatever is beneath you. Feel the weight of the mattress, or the pillow, or the blanket holding you from below. You do not have to hold yourself up right now. Something else is doing that. Let it. If your eyes are open, let them close gently, not forced shut, just allowed to fall. Like curtains at the end of a long day, coming quietly down. And if there is still some tension in your body, some bracing, some holding on, that is completely okay. We are not in a hurry. There is nowhere to be, nothing to accomplish tonight. The only direction we are going is down and in and soft. You have been carrying something heavy. You know what it is. You do not have to name it right now or look at it directly. You do not have to solve it or understand it or fix it tonight. You only have to set it down, just for now, just for this small, quiet window of time that belongs entirely to rest. Imagine that weight, whatever form it takes, as something you are holding in your hands, a stone perhaps, or a bag, or simply a tightness you have been gripping without realizing. And now, very slowly, you are going to loosen your fingers, not throw it away, not fight it, just open your hands gently and let it rest somewhere beside you while you sleep. You can pick it up again tomorrow if you need to, but tonight your hands are free. Good, that is enough. You are already doing so well. Now let your attention come to your breath, not to change it yet, just to notice it, to find it. Feel the air arriving. Feel it leaving. Your breath has been with you all day, through everything, every difficult conversation, every moment of exhaustion, every time you pushed through when you had nothing left. Your breath was there, quiet and faithful, never asking anything of you. It is still here now. Just notice the rise of your chest or your belly as you breathe in, a small, gentle lift, and then the fall as you breathe out, a soft release. In, yours, and out. You do not have to breathe in any particular way. The body knows how to breathe. It has always known. Even when everything else felt uncertain, your breath kept moving, all on its own. Let it do that now. Let it find its own rhythm. You are just watching. You are just along for the ride. And as you watch the breath, you might notice that it is already beginning to slow a little. The body does this when it feels safe, when it senses that it can finally stop performing, stop managing, stop being on guard. You are safe here. Quantiles, let the breath slow. Now, when you are ready, take one slightly deeper breath, not a gasp, just a little fuller than usual. Breathing in, 2, 3, 4. Hold it softly for a moment. And let it go. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Good. Let the next breath come on its own. No effort. Just let the lungs fill when they are ready. Breathing in, 2, 3, 4. Hold gently. And breathe out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. One more, just like that, letting the air come in slowly and fully. 2, 3, 4. Holding without strain. And releasing it all the way out. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Beautiful. Now let the breath return to its own natural pace. No counting, no control, just the gentle, automatic rhythm of a body that is beginning to rest. Feel how the air is a little warmer as it leaves you than when it arrived. That warmth is yours. It is the warmth of a body that is still here, still breathing, still held. With every breath out, imagine something leaving with it, not something you have to identify, just some small measure of the tension you have been carrying, some fraction of the weight, going out with the breath, dissolving into the air, gone. Breathing in ease, breathing out effort, breathing in rest, breathing out the need to do anything at all. Let that continue in the background now as your attention begins to move gently through your body. You do not have to do anything with what you find. Just arrive at each place. Just notice. Just allow softening to happen in its own time. Begin at the very top of your head, the crown of your scalp. There is often tension here that we never think about, a kind of subtle bracing, a held quality. See if you can bring a little warmth there, a little attention. Let that softening spread down across your forehead. The forehead holds so much. Concentration, worry, the effort of trying to figure things out. Let it smooth out now, like a piece of cloth gently laid flat. Let the space between your eyebrows release. If there is any furrowing there, any small crease of concern, you can let it go. There is nothing to figure out right now. Let your eyes soften behind their closed lids. The muscles around your eyes have been working all day, reading, watching, trying to see clearly through everything. Let them rest now. Let them be still and heavy and soft. Let your cheeks go, your nose, the small muscles around your mouth. So much expression lives in the face, so much holding. You do not need to hold any expression right now. Your face can be completely neutral, completely at ease. And your jaw. This is where so many people carry the deepest tension without ever knowing it. Let your back teeth part just slightly. Let your tongue rest easy in your mouth. Let the jaw hang loose and heavy. Feel how the whole face is softer now, quieter, like a face in deep sleep, because that is exactly where you are going. Let that softness move down into your ears, the sides of your head, the back of your skull where it rests against the pillow. Let the weight of your head sink a little more. You do not have to hold your head up. Let it be fully supported. Move your attention down into your neck. The neck carries the head all day long. It carries the tension of looking at screens, of holding difficult conversations, of bracing against stress. It has worked so hard. Let the back of the neck lengthen and soften. Let the muscles on either side release their grip. Feel the neck growing long and loose. And now your shoulders. Take a slow breath in, and as you breathe out, let the shoulders drop. Just a little. Whatever height they have crept up to during the day, let them fall back down where they belong. Let the tops of the shoulders soften, the place where the neck meets the shoulder on each side. This is where so many people hold the weight of responsibility, the weight of being needed, the weight of not being able to stop. You can put that down now. Let the softening travel down your upper arms, the biceps, the triceps, all those muscles that have been holding and reaching and carrying. Let them go slack. Let your arms feel heavy, pleasantly, warmly heavy. Down through your elbows, your forearms, the forearms that have been typing, writing, gripping, doing. Let them rest now, long and soft against whatever they are lying on. Into your wrists, your hands. Open your hands very slightly if they are curled and let them rest open and easy. Let your fingers be loose, uncurled. The hands of someone who is not holding anything right now. The hands that have given so much, that have done so much. They are resting now. They are allowed to rest. Bring your attention to your chest, to the heart space. There is often a particular kind of heaviness here when we are burned out, a weariness that goes deeper than the body, an ache that is hard to name. You do not have to fix that ache right now. You only have to breathe into it gently, to let it know that it has been seen, that it is okay to be tired, that rest is not a failure. Let your chest soften with each breath out. Let the ribcage loosen. Let there be a little more space there, a little more ease. And your upper back, the place between the shoulder blades where tension gathers like a knot pulled tight. Let it begin to release. Let the muscles on either side of the spine soften. Let the whole back of your torso sink into the surface beneath you. Down into your belly. This is where the body holds anxiety, where the stomach tightens against stress, where we brace without knowing we are bracing. Let the belly be soft. Let it rise and fall freely with each breath. No holding in, no tightening, just a soft, gentle rise and fall. Into your lower back. If there is any ache or tightness here, breathe into it warmly. Let the muscles there release their grip on the spine. Let the lower back feel supported, held, cradled by what is beneath you. Let that warmth and release move into your hips. The hips carry more than we realize. The effort of staying upright, the stress of long hours, emotions we have not had time to feel. Let the hips grow heavy and wide and soft. Let them melt a little further into the mattress. Down through your glutes and your pelvis, releasing, settling, sinking. Into your thighs, the large, strong muscles of the legs that carry you through every day. Let them go completely. Let them be heavy. Let them be heavy. Let them fall slightly outward if they want to, finding their most comfortable resting place. Down through the knees, the backs of the knees, the calves. Let every muscle in the lower leg go soft. There is no walking to do right now. No standing, no moving, just stillness. Into your ankles, your feet, the soles of your feet that have carried you through so many long days. Let them spread and soften. Let the toes uncurl. Let the feet be completely at rest. And now, just for a moment, feel your whole body at once, from the top of your head all the way down to the tips of your toes. A long, warm, heavy body resting fully, held from below. Covered from above, completely supported. There is nothing you need to do with this body right now. Nowhere it needs to go. Nothing it needs to perform. It has done enough today. It has done enough for a long time. Let it rest. And as the body grows heavier and softer and stiller, let your mind begin to wander somewhere gentle, somewhere far from schedules and obligations and the relentless noise of a life lived at full capacity. I am going to take you somewhere quiet now, somewhere that belongs only to rest. Imagine that it is late in the day. The light is golden and low, the kind of light that only comes in the last hour before evening when the world seems to exhale. You are outside, somewhere soft and safe, a place that feels like it was made for exactly this, for slowing down, for breathing, for being without doing. Perhaps it is a meadow at the edge of a forest, or a low hillside covered in soft grass, or the garden of a quiet house somewhere tucked away from everything, wherever feels most like safety to you. Let that be where you are. The air is warm but not hot. There is the faintest breeze, just enough to move against your skin like a gentle reassurance. You can smell something faintly sweet, grass perhaps, or the distant suggestion of flowers, or the clean freshness of open air after a long time indoors. You are lying down in this place. The ground beneath you is soft, perfectly soft, as though it has shaped itself to exactly the weight and form of your body. You sink into it just slightly, just enough to feel completely held. Above you, the sky is a deep and gentle blue, fading at the edges into the softest possible shades of rose and gold. There are a few clouds, slow, enormous, unhurried, They drift across your field of vision, the way thoughts drift across a mind that is finally letting go. You watch one cloud move. There is no urgency to it, no destination, just a slow, peaceful traveling across a quiet sky. And you realize that you are like that cloud right now, not going anywhere, not carrying anything, just drifting, just being. The burnout, the exhaustion, the depletion, the long months of running on empty. It has been real. You do not have to pretend otherwise. But right now, in this moment, in this soft and golden place, it is very far away. It is like something that happened in another season, something you can see from a distance without being inside it. And what you feel here, in its place, is something you may not have felt in a very long time. Stillness. Real stillness. The kind that comes not from forcing yourself to stop, but from finally being somewhere that asks nothing of you. The warmth of the late light rests on your skin like a hand, gentle, steady. There is nothing alarming in this world, no notification, no deadline, no one who needs something from you right now. Just the warmth. Just the light. Just the sound of the breeze moving softly through the grass nearby. And somewhere not far away, there is water. A small stream, perhaps, or a pond. You can hear it just faintly. The gentlest sound of moving water. Not urgent, not rushing, just moving the way water does, easy and continuous and without effort. That sound reaches you like a lullaby. Let your breath follow it, easy and continuous, without effort, in and out. You have worked so hard, for so long. You have given and given and given from a well that needed time to refill. And now, in this quiet place, something is beginning to refill. Not all at once, not tonight, but a little, like rain falling gently into still water. You do not have to do anything to make that happen. You only have to lie here. You only have to breathe. You only have to let the warmth and the quiet and the soft ground do what they are doing. Rest is not nothing. Rest is the thing that makes everything else possible. And right now, rest is the only thing being asked of you. A bird calls somewhere in the trees at the edge of this meadow. One soft sound, and then quiet again. The kind of quiet that follows a bird call and feels even deeper than before. The light is shifting now. The gold is deepening. The sky overhead is moving toward that soft, bruised purple of early evening. The stars are not out yet, but you know they are coming. You know that the whole patient darkness is on its way, gentle and enormous and full of rest. Your body is so heavy now, pleasantly, warmly, completely heavy, as though you have been gently pressed into the earth by something kind, as though the ground has claimed you just for tonight and is holding you with great care. Your arms are heavy. Your legs are heavy. Your eyelids, if they could be any heavier, would be nothing at all, just closed, just still. And your mind, your busy, hard-working, never quite quiet mind, it is slowing now. The thoughts that come are softer, shorter. They arrive and drift away before you can catch them. Like the clouds above you, they are just passing through. You do not need to think tonight. You have thought enough. You have planned and worried and processed and tried to understand enough. The mind can rest too. Quiet days. Let it go soft. Let it go quiet. The breeze moves through the grass again. You hear it before you feel it, a soft rushing sound, like the world breathing out. And then it reaches you, cool and light against your face. And then it passes on. Everything passes. The hard days pass. The seasons of exhaustion pass. The feeling of being lost and depleted and unsure if you will ever feel like yourself again, that passes too. You do not have to believe that right now. You only have to rest. The sky is darker now. The first star has appeared, faint and steady, directly above you. You look at it without really looking. It is just a point of light in the growing dark, quiet and constant. It has been there every night, even when you were too tired to notice, even when you were too busy to look up. It was there. And so were you. Quat. Still breathing. Still finding your way through. The stream sounds softer now. Or perhaps you are simply drifting further from it, further from everything. The warmth of the ground beneath you is complete, total, like being held inside something gentle. Your breath is very slow now. Each breath out carries you a little further down, a little deeper into the soft, dark warmth of sleep. You are not trying to sleep. You are simply too comfortable not to. The meadow is dimming around you. The outlines of the trees are soft suggestions against the darkening sky. The grass is silver in the growing moonlight. Everything is still. Everything is quiet. And you are the stillest, quietest thing in all of it. Let the thoughts go. Whatever just drifted through, let it go. There is nothing to figure out in this place, nothing to decide, nothing to hold. Just the dark. Just the slow and easy breath. You are so close now, right at the edge of something deep and restoring. The place where the body heals and the mind unknots and the self that has been working so hard finally gets to stop. Just let yourself fall into it. You are safe. You are held. You have done enough. The stream is barely audible now, just the faintest suggestion of water moving somewhere in the soft dark. The star above you is steady. The ground beneath you is warm. Your breath moves in and slowly out. Oops, and in. Lower now. Lifting. Ing. God. Let the dark take you gently. You are already there. Now. Stressed.